Welcome to Grace Over Grit and Growth, the podcast where we celebrate women's journeys to empower each other to thrive in our personal lives, careers, and business. We're two women that are passionate about connecting with and inspiring the community around us. So, with that, welcome aboard.
Well, welcome everyone. Welcome to our episode 3.
Yes, episode 3.
Where we're going to talk about, is balance real?
Is the elusive balance, is it real?
So I am Monique Fisher.
And I'm Melita Anderson.
And welcome.
Yes.
So a question I want to ask you out there is balance real to you? What does that mean? And we would love to hear from you.
Yes.
We are Grace Over Grit and Growth, right? And we're on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
You got that.
Oh, come on now. Last time I didn't know what we were doing, but I got it now. I got it. So really, we would like to know, what does balance really mean for you? We hear that term, work-life balance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that real?
Is it real? And if it's real to you, what does it mean? Because I think it means something to different people.
Right.
With that, let's kick off. We're going to go a little bit old school.
Okay.
So I pulled up, according to Merriam-Webster's dictionary. Y'all remember when we used to go to the dictionary to get the true definition of things? So I looked it up on Webster's. Okay. And balance is a state of equilibrium, a condition in which different elements are equal or in correct proportions. Part 2 of that is stability produced by an even distribution of weight on each side of an axis. 3 is mental and emotional steadiness, having a sense of calm and control in life. And then the 4th meaning, it means of judging or deciding, weighing different aspects to make choices. So that is the Webster's definition of balance. Today, I think we want to talk a little bit in regards to, that's what the words say, and that's what it means in theory. But what does that really mean in our real lives?
Right. Because in theory, it sounds good. I'll give everybody equal time. But even if you think about it in theory, right? If you got 4 things that you got your family, say your spouse, work, and home life, right?
Yes.
You up 16 hours, you're going to give each one of them 4 hours?
Yes, because you have to balance, Monique.
That's the balance. Yes. Okay. So, yeah. So, again, even the theory is a little rocky, but I'm going to go with it.
Mm-hmm. And although, like we said, that's what Webster says, we're going to talk a little bit about what we say. We want to, for you to reach out to us and let us know what your thoughts are. Because I think some people have I don't think I know anybody that has balance 100% down. Mm-hmm. But I think that there are some people that have got a pretty good grasp on balance.
So let's talk about where we are today in our careers.
Yes.
Right. And our home life.
Okay.
You have this business, you have children who are still in high school.
Mm-hmm.
What does that, what's the balance there? How are you able to do all of that?
It's day to day, and I'm laughing because you hear the day-to-day struggles of it. Not only do I have 2 children that are in high school, I have 2 children that are in high school that have stuff outside of school.
Right.
Which I'm happy about. I don't want them to be, just going to school and coming home. But at the same time, they're minors. So although they are somewhat self-sufficient, I still have to be involved in some of the things that they're involved in, just from a pure support thing.
Yeah, your mom.
Kennedy is dancing all over the world.
Yes.
So keeping up with practices, competitions, games, all of that. I have my own business. My husband also works full time, but then also has his own business.
Yeah.
So Bryce is in school trying to figure out what he's going to do next. And then he also has different activities and friend groups and things that he wants to do.
Right.
So for us, it's a calendar. And that calendar probably started years ago. Let me back up just a little bit. So the 2 that are in high school, I also have 2 bonus kids.
Yes.
So our oldest played basketball from little one all the way through grad school. He was, so he's always played basketball. So prior to them even being born, when I was pregnant, we were at AAU games, we were at school games, and then we lived here and he lived in the city. So that commute, getting back and forth to work. So we've always had to figure out a schedule for stuff to make things happen because everybody had a full plate. And to this day, everyone still has a full plate. So the calendar, like for T and I, it's a communication of, hey, I'm gonna be here these days. What days can we schedule to go out? And it sounds crazy a little bit because people are like, you actually schedule to go out. But if we don't, it doesn't happen. It's because everything else just takes precedence. With the kids' activities, things that where there needs to be, we literally have to check and be like, okay, who's where when? Like the calendar. So a lot of it is a calendar. It is day by day because even though we have things planned, things pop up all the time. People get sick.
Schedules change.
Yes. And then not to mention with my clients for real estate, I have time blocked out for when I can work with my clients too. For our agents to support them, time to do trainings and things here in the office. So all that has to be on the calendar. And to me, it just makes it easier to block it out and know during this time I'm doing this. And then I adjust as things happen because it happens a lot.
So let me just say this. I'm thinking back to when I have 2 kids also, 2 children, but they're grown, self-sufficient, grown. But if I'm thinking back to if I would have been in the season that you're in, I don't think I could have started this business because it would have been too much for me. And when you start a business and you think about all that goes into it, and I'm a very detail-oriented person, I like to know what's going to happen. I try to pre-think it all,
right?
So then that's putting a lot of stress on me. So I'm not saying I wouldn't be working at this time,
right?
But I don't think the starting of the business, because you're right, our agents are very important to us. Our clients are important to us. And it's just the commitment that we have as partners to each other and making sure that we're not dropping the ball anywhere, right? So I don't know if I could have done that if my kids were still in school.
No.
And I'm just being totally honest. I don't think I can handle it. So I truly admire you for that. Because you like, Kennedy's dancing here. You was driving to Bloomington one day, but you stopped by here first. And I'm like, oh, Lord, I probably would have crossed everything up in terms of time. So part of it, too, is knowing who you are.
Yes, very much so.
Knowing yourself and making priorities, right? So I'm just saying, I don't know if I could have done that at this time of, at that time of my life. So
no, I think that's a good point. And I think for me, the balance part of it is give and take, meaning now it's a lot to juggle. Right. So I will say it's a lot to juggle, but I know that it's only for a short period of time. Bryce is a senior, Kennedy's a junior.
Right.
And I think this is the timing where it allows them to be a little bit self-sufficient as well. But then also when they're doing their thing, I've already kind of started mine now, I can do more.
Right.
So I feel like it's a little hectic right now, but it won't always be. Yeah.
So have you ever used some leverage, like, for your house? Did you ever hire a cleaning lady or, do you have somebody to come in and do other things for you that need to be done?
Yeah.
I mean, cleaning, I think having a housekeeper or something, I think that's a good example.
Yeah. Yes. And I laugh because it kind of started with me delegating tasks to people in the house. But then I can't really be upset if I've told you to sweep or mop, let's just say. And you sweep and mop, but it's not the way that I would sweep and mop. So you did the task, but I'm still irritated because I'm like, what? You didn't do it like I said. So for a little peace of mind, yes, we definitely have looked at leverage as far as someone coming in and being able to clean. And the other flip part of that is I don't have that much downtime. So when I do have downtime, I don't necessarily want to do those things. I want to be able to enjoy my downtime. But again, it's give and take because then I'm paying somebody to do that.
Right.
Versus doing something else with those. But so it's kind of matter, like you said, your priorities. What's most important to you at that time?
Right.
But I learned early on that just because stuff needs to be done doesn't mean I have to be the person that does it.
Right. So I wonder where that whole work-life balance came into play. And I think it is from once women started to enter the workplace.
Yes.
Right. And so like these quote unquote traditional roles are now really unbalanced, right? For what
Because the balance was two people.
mm-hmm.
One person was getting up, leaving the house every day to go to work.
Right.
Second person was staying home managing the household. Okay, so we shift, like you said. So now women are entering the workforce. So two people leaving the household, and we still got a household that needs to be managed.
Right. So
who's doing it?
Who's doing it? Yeah. So it sounds like too to me, I like to think of it as more as priorities.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because you can. I was joking in the beginning about, do you give everybody the equal 4 hours or 3 hours a day? You really can't. But it's even a priority if you have more than one child, right? If this child needs something, if this child is more active, you're giving more of your time to that child,
mm-hmm.
right? In that season or that time.
Right.
It doesn't mean that you don't love the other two.
No. And I think it looks differently, even with the kids.
Right.
Because with personalities and things like, I'm just thinking of mine. And, me doing one thing with one of them might mean a whole lot, and doing that same thing with the other kid that could care less.
Right.
So what does it look like? Like, what are the things you need to show up for or participate with him for that's going to matter and make the most for that child?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And it may not always look equal to other people, but
right.
What your family needs.
Exactly.
And I think that's a big lesson too. I think sometimes we look at other people and we think, oh, they got it all, or, they're the perfect family, or
mm-hmm.
she can, do this type of juggling act. But that may not, like we said in the beginning, that wouldn't work for me in that season, because I know I would be pulling my hair out,
mm-hmm.
And even now, starting this business, I still have a commitment to, my husband and home life.
Mm-hmm.
And we support Christopher in his music business.
Yeah.
Right. And so I'm not able to do what I used to do for him now. So I'll manage his contracts and things that I can do like that. But getting him to his gigs and stuff like that, because he does not drive, I can't do that right now. And so George has retired and he's able to pick that up. Mm-hmm. Right. So that's another thing that went into making this decision too. What's going to happen with Chris, because I am committed to him too. Both of us are. And so when he said, I can do that,
mm-hmm.
if you manage this piece of it, I'm like, okay, then yeah, I can start this business. Yes. So again, to me, it's prioritizing. And sometimes I think we have to think about things a little bit differently. Yes. And just have a shift, in a mind shift, a paradigm shift.
Because things change, like you said.
Right.
With George retiring,
he retired.
Yes. The commitment level that you have. Okay, so these things still need to get done. How are they going to get done?
Right.
Let's figure that piece of it out. And that might not always be, what you're doing now might not always be how things are handled.
Right. So and this will be a season too. I mean, nothing lasts forever, of course. But I laughed. Friend of mine called me the other day and told me, girl, what you making for Sunday dinner? Like, I don't cook no more. That's not a priority for me anymore, right? Because, I'm running a business. And that's my biggest commitment right now. So it's a shift, but I think when you get everybody in the household
mm-hmm.
to agree to it and everybody feels good about it, it works.
Yeah.
It works.
I think I had to do something similar early on in real estate, because I was like busy. I'm like, okay, I'm running from this basketball game to some showings, then an open house, then I'm going back for a dance recital that evening. So it was like full plates. And I saw less and less of my family in there. So we had to have the discussion of, hey, I'm doing this because I'm trying to hit this target or whatever. So it's going to look like this because this is a busy season for right now. So it's going to be a little bit busy right now. But when I do this, then we're going to do this. We'll do a trip. We're going to do this, whatever. So everybody had the buy-in of, oh, okay,
gotcha.
What's this for? But it was a discussion too to be like, it's not that I'm not here, so I want you to understand what's going on. And then this is going to be the reward for it. That's helped me in general, even before real estate, even with sales, when stuff got busy, because it's typically a season. Like
Right.
there's a peak period when things are really busy.
Right.
So I'm gonna do this, and then this is the goal. And it's funny because I'll be like, oh yeah, once this closes, I'm gonna do this. So the kids will be like, so what? Didn't you have a closing on Thursday? Can we go get to do like? Are we going to this? So it helps them understand too what I do.
And I think that's important. I think we saw our mothers or other women who tried to do it all and take on everything. And we weren't necessarily included in decisions. This is just how things were. This is the plan. This is what this is what we're doing. But I think when you include your kids or your spouse too, it teaches them responsibility, right? And it starts to teach them balance, right? Because as they start having activities along with their schoolwork, right, they have to balance that. And now they understand what mom's doing.
Yes.
When you don't tell your kids or communicate with them, then they feel like, oh, you just always gone.
Right.
And then there's resentment there. And that's a problem. So I think that's great that you include them, even at a young age, to say, hey, this is what this looks like and this is why.
I remember being younger and my mom, it's funny because when I look back, I'm like, man, you was doing a lot, but you don't realize it when you're a kid.
Right.
You be like, how did you do all this? Because I think when maybe early on when I got married, whatever, I'm like, so now I'm cooking, I'm doing this, I'm like, oh, this is a lot. Like, I can't just be like, it can't just be me. And if I decide, cool, like I'm gonna do this or I'm gonna not do this. Like it's other people you have to consider. I'm like, oh, good gracious. But my mom worked full time. She, I think a lot of my work ethic comes definitely from both of my parents. My mom worked full time, and probably when I was in junior high, maybe freshman in high school, something like that. My mom made it a priority to always, she would get her hair done. She was going shopping. She was doing different things that she wanted to do. So it was me and my sister. So we started doing that as well. And she was like, wait a minute now. I'm getting my hair done. Y'all getting your hair done. This is getting expensive. She enrolled in beauty school. She went and got her cosmetology license.
Wow.
She did it. So we were like, oh, okay. So she was doing hair. And it was funny. She was doing hair. She worked full time and she would do hair a little bit here and there. And then when she retired, she did hair at one of the little small, just like haircut places. Just something because she enjoyed talking to people, whatever. It wasn't necessarily even financial. She just enjoyed it. She found a thing that she liked doing and was there. But she was like, I'm not going to be shelling out all this money. We're going to figure this out. So, yeah. So I see her like do the different things. And like you said, be busy, getting through school, doing all that for a purpose and a reason. So I saw things unfold where it was just like not forever.
Right. And, I talked about before when I asked to be put on that list because I was going to work crying because I was just overwhelmed, and I, Chris was getting ready to go to middle school and he was saying he wasn't getting on the bus and he wasn't doing this. And he used to announce, today is April 1st, 2001. I no longer eat spaghetti. And I'm like, what? So
oh goodness,
cooking and doing all of that stressed me, to come home and try to figure out what everybody's going to eat. Now, the little one, he ate whatever you put in front of him. Thank you, Kyle. But I struggled a bit with that. And it just, I don't know, then it just seemed like the little things became too much, And yes, I used leverage at the time. So my mother, she was already retired. And so but she didn't drive. So we would pick her up maybe on a Thursday night or something. And she would come out and be there with us for the weekend so that we could sometimes get away. She would come and iron all of their clothes. Not something I would have did. Took them out the dryer, popped them, and there we go. How wrinkled could kids' clothes be, right? But no, she didn't like that. So she would come and do that. So I say that to say she was leverage and
Yes.
support too, to
Mhm.
help me with that balance.
Mhm.
So, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, I think that the pressures, like you said, the pressures we put on ourselves
Right.
and the pressures of looking at what other people are doing,
Mm-hmm.
kind of makes you feel like one of my friends, we laugh because I'm an early riser.
Okay.
So we might text or check in or whatever, and she'll be like, "Oh, what you been up to, or where'd you go?" And I'll be like, "Oh, I dropped Kenny to dance. I had to do this, whatever. I'm going to a show," and I was like, "Ooh," and then she'll be like, "Okay, I'm just getting up, and you didn't do the whole day, and I'm just getting up." And we laugh about it because she also is a night owl. So I'm like, if you try to reach out to me past 8:30, 9 o'clock, I think it's 9 o'clock, 9 p.m., my phone goes on, no notifications, because who needs to notify me? Yeah. Right. Like, I mean, like, my husband, kids, they can get a hold of it. Typically, they're homes, but
if they in the house, then.
Yeah. But and if you call me more, a couple times, I'll get the message too. You'll get through. But what I found is people reach out to you when like something comes on their mind or come across. I'm getting ready to go. If I'm not in the bed, I'm getting ready to go to bed. And whatever we can talk about, I'm not going to solve tonight.
Right.
And we can deal with it tomorrow.
Right.
So,
and same thing with what do we say in real estate, honey? There's no emergencies.
Right.
And especially at 10 o'clock at night, there's nothing we can do about anything at that time. So, yeah, there's no emergency. So but again, that's setting boundaries, which goes back to, I think, setting priorities, right?
Yes.
So we're asking you to, again, what do you think? What do you do to help you with that balance?
Mm-hmm.
Are you setting priorities? Do you communicate more with your family? Let them know how we all need to work together to make this work. So hit us up on where are we again? Now then I forget.
We're everywhere.
We're everywhere.
We are on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So you can certainly reach out to us and let us know what you do. Let us know. One of the other things I want to touch on, and please, I'd love to hear other people's opinions on this. Is there a time in your life where you felt more balanced than other times? And if it was, what was going on, or why did you feel so imbalanced? What was happening?
Yeah. Because there are times. Now, I feel really balanced right now. I really do.
Do you?
I do. I'm committed to this, and I don't feel like I have the pressure of figuring out everything at home.
Yes.
So it's a balance to me, and I love what I do. I love coming into work. I get up. I feel like I have purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So that's part of it. So I really feel balanced right now. Like I said, when the kids were in school and I was working full time, and I don't know if I told you too, I even went back to school. So at one point I was getting my degree, raising kids, working full time, and just family life, and it became too much. And I think I just became burnt out. So I didn't feel, and I felt guilty. As moms sometimes, right? We feel guilty if we feel like we're not giving everything to our children that we should. And I think we have to take some of that away too. And that goes to what? Our grace.
That goes to definitely showing grace to yourself in those situations. And I think too, the choice. So if you had to choose between peace and productivity, what would you choose?
Oh, I'm taking my peace.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
I'm taking my peace.
Because I feel like productivity, not to say that you don't need to be productive or that you don't need to attain different goals, but I think productivity breeds more productivity.
Right.
Meaning you're going to just keep
going.
Keep going. And I think I do that gracefully when I'm in peace.
Right. There you go.
So I think it allows me to be more productive in a healthy manner than just going and going. And
I'm going to speak for you on this one too. I think we have done enough in our lifetimes already. We have been very productive that if we don't do anything for the next 20 years,
we'll be okay.
We're going to be okay. I think so. But I don't know. I mean, but I do like staying busy and doing things.
Yeah.
But no, I would take my peace. I really would. I think that's everything. Um, as you move through life, you can't buy that. So
You cannot. And I think sometimes the balance is what you're trying. Sometimes the balance I feel is going to come in by really evaluating the stuff that you're doing and the time that you're spending. Like you said, your priorities and what really matters. Because sometimes we're out of balance or we feel out of sync because we're places that we shouldn't be
we
doing
place.
stuff that we don't really need to be doing.
Come on, talk to me.
No is a full answer.
It's a full answer, and
No.
I think the fact too that I have gotten back into my church life, being more spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
I truly believe that helps to bring us in balance. And you're right. Necessarily just going out just to be going out or doing things, just to be doing them because you're trying to get some alone time or
Right.
I think when you get back into or when you have that full spiritual life and understand that is a part of being whole,
Mm-hmm.
I think that helps a lot too.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I always laugh when I hear people say, "Oh my gosh, I have FOMO," and I was like, "What?" And they're like, "Yeah, in the fear of missing out." On what? I'm like,
What you missing out
I'm
on?
like, what do you mean? Just because everybody's there now, you just want to go? No, I have a full packed agenda, and if it's a day that I don't, I'm like, "Thank you, Jesus." No, I am not trying to put just stuff in there to have stuff in there. If I can sit down for a minute, I am sitting
Girl,
down.
now, it's funny. I saw something on the TikToker. I call it the TikToker. And it was this woman said, I don't have FOMO, I have phobia.
Who's that?
Fear of being included. She said, leave me alone. Let me keep my peace. So
That's funny.
So that's exactly what you're talking about. Sometimes I don't need to be included in. I maybe can't attend this. You need a donation? I'm gonna send you a donation.
Yeah.
Or no, I'm not gonna make it to that shower. Let me get you a gift. Sometimes you need to just be by yourself or just relax.
And it's funny because my husband will call me out on this one because I'll be like, and then I have so much to do and I gotta get this, and I like list stuff out and I'm like, and then I gotta be here and do that. And he'll just be like, well, what? Why you sign up? Why are you doing all this? And I'm like, because I have to. And he's like, why? It was like, and we'll go through it. And then I think about it like, well, maybe I really don't need to do all of it.
But that goes back to your no. No can be a complete sentence. And that doesn't make me, mean or whatever.
Right.
I just right now I can't commit to that. And I'm not gonna commit to that. But when people are used to you doing,
yes,
and being a part of something, volunteering or leading, it's hard for them to hear you say no.
Right. Yes,
but we got to be okay. We have to be okay with it.
We definitely have to be
and not
okay
take
with
on
it.
that guilt, right? So,
and with that, okay, I talked a little bit, and you touched on it too with George being able to help with Chris. How does your spouse play a part in helping you be balanced?
Yeah, the roles are just a little bit reversed. So he takes care of the house. It's, he does the cooking. And at first I was complaining like, I don't want that, but I don't do that anymore. I do not. Whatever he cooks, whatever he comes up with, that's what we're doing. With Christopher, he's even giving Christopher a little bit more responsibility. There's that, the running joke with us and
the
Chris.
Radius.
George has a radius. So he tells Chris, you taking all these gigs, you got a 15-mile radius. You taking something all the way over here. I'm not doing that. Now he'll do every once in a while, but he wanted a job downtown Chicago. He's like, I'm not taking you down there. You either gonna have to Uber or find another way. And that makes him a little bit more responsible.
Right.
Then he found somebody that was going that way, that was willing to. So Joyce, I'll take you to their house and pick you up from their house. But then you do that. So that makes him a little bit more resourceful too. Yeah. So yeah. But I couldn't do it without him. And then my son Kyle does all the grocery shopping. I don't grocery shop anymore. Um,
I'm looking forward to these
yeah,
days.
well, they're grown and they're still living there. So, hey, it's what you just said. We are all in this together.
Yeah.
So I'm doing what I want to do now, right? So you need to do this, and George does the cooking, Kyle does the grocery shopping, and they work it all out. It
It's a
works. It
beautiful
works
thing.
for us,
Right. And
It
that's
works for-
all that matters.
and that's all I care about, right?
Yeah,
is
as
that
you
it works
should.
for us, and then I don't have the stresses of worrying about what's going on there at home because I know it's taken care of,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So that lets me be more present here,
Yes.
doing what I need to do
Very
to grow
true.
our business.
Yes.
So that's where I'm at with that.
Mm-hmm. Now I have similar but a little different. He don't cook.
Oh, okay.
No, not cooking anything. But he will go pick up some food and get a restaurant, and we will all eat.
You all eat.
So
There you
I'll pick
go.
the days that I do cook. Or sometimes I'll cook earlier in the week where it's enough to be a couple of days or something like that, or mix up some things.
Mhm.
Because we also have different taste buds in our household where Kennedy probably is the pickiest. And then, the boys pretty much eat whatever. But yeah, so we'll pick those days and be like, okay, I'm gonna get food from here. And I would do the same thing, like, we cannot be eating wings and fries and hamburgers.
Right.
Like, you need to get, and I'm like, you know what? Whatever you order, you order. And if if it's something that he'll get, like, I don't eat beef or pork. So if he's ordering something that they're all gonna eat, he'll tell me, like, hey, do you want something from here? Or I'm like, nope, I'll pick me something up on the way home. Like,
Yep,
I'm
I
good.
got me.
Yeah, I'm
That's
good.
all- and
Everybody else
yep,
ate, so
they-
nobody was looking at me talking about they
That's
hungry
right.
when I walk through the door. I'm good.
That's right.
But just other stuff that needs to get done in the home, he'll make sure that happens, or at least get on the kids to make sure it happens, because that's the way he always is like, I don't want to hear her complaining about this. So you make sure it's done. So your mama not complaining about
Right.
whatever needs to happen. So he'll snap the whip on those things. But the same thing for me, I wouldn't be able to do a lot of the things that I do if I didn't know that the things at home were being taken care of.
Yeah.
And I think we talk about seasons. I think it's kind of the same thing with him. When he started back DJing, I don't even remember how many years ago it was. Then that would, like, the activities and stuff, if he had weddings or whatever he was doing for the weekends, then then I'm charged with all the activities. So we've had to go back and forth to see who's doing what to make sure the kids were taken care of or whatever they were in. So yeah, we just kind of talked it through and see who's going to be doing what that day, that week, that month.
Right. So it's a give and take, right?
Yes.
And so we have seasons.
Yes.
Where one and I think it's the same thing with marriage. I mean, it's a give and take. It's about communication.
100%.
It's about
100%. And you really have to know that what works for you might not work for your friend. What works for your friend might not work for you. So you got to figure out what works in your household and what makes the most sense. And it might only make sense for that week.
That's right.
But whatever you need to implement it and do it. And then when it doesn't work or you need to do something to adjust and be nimble. You can't really be tied to anything. But you'll see, like, oh, and I laugh because my joke about the group text from all of the activities and stuff that my daughter's in. And I'm like, what are these people doing all day? Like, I do not have time to be worried about what color bow they went on Thursday and if this person wants a Jolly Rancher versus a Snickers bar. Like, girl, what is happening?
What killed me when you said, girl, they want to know what color glitter we want.
Yes.
Girl, pick a glitter. It glitters.
Yeah. I'm like, I am involved and I care, maybe not to that extent, but, and I have to laugh about it because I'm like, yeah, I just know I'm not that parent.
Yeah.
And I don't, I'm not striving to be that parent. I'll be present. I will provide whatever needs to be provided, but I don't need to play by play.
But see, that's the thing too. I used to feel guilty too. So Christopher was in band and he did a lot, right? Now if you know me, I'm a little loud. I can get a little loud. So when he first joined band and stuff, they be playing, I'll be cheering, oh yeah, y'all get it, and all of this. And he said to me, Mom, you're the loudest parent there. And he said, I really don't I really don't want you to, because he know I'm gonna be me, right? So he said, I don't think I really want you to come to the game. You just don't know how much that relieved me. Okay, that's
Oh,
one
goodness.
less thing on my schedule that I have to do. I wasn't offended.
Right.
He was happy. I was happy.
Mm-mm.
It's okay. But it's about communication. I guess he felt embarrassed. It's okay. I don't have to embarrass you. I can stay at home. So, yeah, it's different seasons and doing
It
things. But I
is.
think the thing is for us as women, we got to stop feeling guilty about things.
Yes.
We have to just, be fluid.
Mhm.
Things happen. We got to learn how to embrace change
Yes, very much so.
because things change so quickly.
And I just think it's the comparison thing. Like,
That's true. We do that.
it just does not. Sometimes resources, time is all so different. So and that's another thing we'd love to hear from you in regards to is what does your balance look like, and how does it look like compared to your circle? Because I think a lot of times people, I know I lean on my circle. I'll be like, for instance, one of my girlfriends, they're recent empty nesters. So now she's like, oh, these kids are gone. We're gonna do this, this, and this. And I'm like, oh. And then I have a friend who, when Bryce and Kennedy were younger, she didn't have kids at that point.
Okay.
So now she does. So she'll be like, oh my gosh, your kids are gone. I'll be like, she's like, where are the kids? And I'll say, oh, they went to whatever, they're gone. She's like, I'll be so glad when I don't have to go to all these little birthday parties. And I'm like, hold on. Remember when you would stop by my house on a Wednesday and you'd be like, hey, we're going to the movies, then we're going to dinner. I want to go. And I'd be like, nah, I can't go. Like,
right.
volleyball, whatever. I got these things to do, whatever else. I said, see, tables turned. Like, now I'm able to do a little bit more. You're able to do a little bit less. I said, but I'm living proof that it changes in time. It goes fast. So I do enjoy those moments. And I know they won't last forever. So
you're committed to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because then you're gonna have another season when you are an empty nester.
Exactly.
And and that's gonna look different too.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we just want to say, you as women, we need to learn how to make it make sense for us.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Make it make sense for you. Stop all the comparisons or beating yourself up about things. Give yourself what we call grace. Right?
Definitely.
Because there's only you are you, and you want to be around for these things.
Definitely.
And so that's going to lead us into our
next episode,
which is,
so we were talking about giving yourself grace. We're talking about balance. How does that look? What we sometimes overlook, well, a lot of times we as women overlook, is self-care. We talked about feeling guilty, not really knowing what we should do. But our twist on this is going to be that self-care isn't just for you. So our next episode, we're going to talk about why self-care isn't just for you and why prioritizing yourself benefits everyone around you. So we can't wait for you to tune in. Yes. Please reach out, share with us your thoughts on this episode, or even some things topics you'd like for us to talk about. We'd be happy to include those. You can reach us on Instagram, Facebook, and our YouTube channel. So until next time, we'll see you there.